alien.
But that's...
Disturb my peace. You made an oath never to stop. Excalibur. Wait. Is it really you? You, who come from a time beyond. Show yourself before me.
It seems he speaks to me. Allow me to answer him.
Welcome, old friend.
I can see that you know me, but I am a mere shadow of my true self. I don't remember you, Lord of the Seas. Forgive me.
That's what you told me, my friend. The next time we see each other, you will not remember me. But you are here now. The will and the power led you back to this place. Even in this incomplete form.
Where should I look for myself? I wish to restore Avalon to its former glory, yet I don't know how.
Avalon's fate has never rested upon one person alone, not even one as great as King Arthur. Yet here you are, trying again, restless and eager to take the responsibility again. I salute you, my friend.
Tell me what I must do to be worthy to lead Avalon once more. I do not think I have the strength.
Your path is true. Seek wholeness, and Avalon will reveal what it needs from you. And yes, you need to touch Excalibur.
Thank you, my friend.
And you, mortal. You have given yourself to the King's service. You are worthy of a place among the keepers of the South. Arthur, take out your sword and fear no failure. It is yours to take. It always was. I deem you worthy, my friend. The promise I gave thy mother is fulfilled, and thus our pact is ended. You know where to look for your soul. Trust yourself. And when you reach your journey's end, I trust you will make the right choice.
I am his will, the fire that bends the world to his command. I am the blade that shapes kings and shatters tyrants.
Enough, Merlin. You can't keep throwing lives into this abyss. These experiments, they're destroying what remains of us.
Destroying us? They're what's keeping us alive. Do you think the Four Dwellers will stop for pity or mercy? Every soul we lose here saves 10 more on the battlefield. You told me to do this. You sanctioned this. And I'm close to getting it right. I know it.
No, we can't justify this. There's no victory worth such a cost.
You know full well, Arthur, that this isn't about victory. It's about survival. If we don't push these boundaries, there will be no future for your kingdom, for Avalon. You dream of peace, but without victory, there will be no peace to dream of. The path ahead is brutal, but if we relent now, we lose everything.
And yet we keep losing people and gaining nothing in return. We must change the path.
They volunteered for this.
They volunteered to save our kingdom, and you've got no closer to doing it. Their sacrifices cannot be in vain, Merlin. Find another way. Use your mind, your wisdom. Leave this slaughterhouse you've created behind.
A different way. That will take time, and resources we may not have. The enemy won't wait.
They will if I make them. Whatever it takes, I will buy you that time. Find me a weapon that wins this war without annihilating what we fight to protect.
Whatever it takes.
Yes. Let it be known that it was my decision, and I will bear the consequences of it.
Oh no, my king. People can never know. It was all my idea, and you knew nothing about it. All of us have our role to play. You are the leader, and they need to love you. If we win, you need to become more than a man. You need to become a symbol.
Now, I remember. Before you judge me, it all seems so obvious now, doesn't it? The right thing to do. It wasn't back then, and you can trust me on that. We were on the brink of losing the war, and wars aren't won with wishful thinking. There was no clean path, no noble answer. Only something had to be done, or everything we fought for would have. And in the end, the ones who stepped forward, who chose to pay the price, made it possible. And their deaths gave Merlin the knowledge he needed to finish his work. To find something that could really turn the tide in our favor. I did. But this wasn't about pride. It wasn't about saving face. It was about survival. The truth about all this would have broken my people. I couldn't allow that. And a king doesn't get to flinch. If that meant carrying the weight alone, so justified? No. Justification is for those who have the luxury of doubt. And I had a kingdom to save. They were brave men who volunteered their lives, just as they did every time we rode onto the battlefield. The difference was that if Merlin succeeded, one man's sacrifice could have saved us all, could have ended the war before more blood was spilled. If sacrificing a few meant the survival of all, then there was no choice at all. Maybe they never saw justice. Maybe their real stories were erased from history. Call it cruelty. Call it madness. But if I'd done nothing, there would be no Avalon. But the kingdom still stands. The people live. And that has to mean something. I told him to stop the experiments on our men, but to keep going. And he did. He started experimenting on the Four Dwellers, the enemy. If their bodies could be broken down, their power turned against them, wasn't that their own doing? Wasn't that fair? So he figured out how to twist the Four Dwellers' power into something we could wield. I told him to conquer the weirdness. And in the end, he did. He found a way to make me stronger. Stronger than any man had the right to be. It wasn't just magic. It was something deeper, older. A force that reshaped me. And with it, we won. The war ended. Avalon was ours. The bloodshed stopped. The banners were raised. And the kingdom stood safe. That's the question, isn't it? I keep thinking about Seawall. He was ready to pay the ultimate price for what we were fighting for. And I thought he did. I grieved him. Told myself his sacrifice had meaning, that he had given his life for Avalon. And now, after all these years, finding him like me, I told myself I carried the weight of my choices. But seeing him, I wonder if I ever truly did.
Another piece of the king's soul reclaimed, right? What did it show you this time? The weirdness. The king thought it could save us. Merlin thought it could be controlled. Together, they were willing to tear the world apart to win. I was a prototype for Merlin's latest idea, immortality. Me and Seawall, the king's loyal pawns. Used and discarded when they found a better way. When they decided to go even deeper into their madness and turn our king into a monster. Even if he didn't, he should have. He was desperate to win, and desperation doesn't leave room for every scream, every scar. Even if he didn't see it, he allowed it. That's as good as approving it. Fight back. Against who? Merlin? The king? You don't fight gods when you're just a pawn on their board. You endure. You wait. And when the time comes, you either break, or you're left to clean up their mess. That's what I do. What I've always done. Seawall was Merlin's first attempt. I was the last. We could say I was lucky, but to say that would take a truly macabre sense of humor, don't you think? The monsters, the weirdness, the chaos. We're left in the ruins of their grand plans, trying to uphold their ideals, fighting for what never was. It's time to bury all these fairy tales in a well-deserved grave. Of course he'd say that. There's always a scapegoat and a convenient excuse for men like him. But it doesn't absolve him. Not when he was the one who unleashed this madness on all of us. He wanted victory, no matter the cost. And when you want something that badly, you stop looking too closely at what's being done in your name. And, after all, who said we were supposed to win this war? Who said we were supposed to survive? You've seen what they did, what he did. And that's not the end of the story. It's not the extent of their sins. Find the pieces of his soul. Put him back together, if that's what it takes. And then we, or I alone, if you decide to defy me, can end the cycle. Either way, we will get to his resurrection. I've seen it too many times to believe the cycle will be broken before it happens. But know this. Once he's whole, Arthur's power, his mistakes, and his madness will all return. And when that moment comes, I'll be there. Whether to stand with you or step over you. Just remember that when that happens, and you stand by his side, there won't be room for both of you. You cannot kill me, and I don't want to kill you. But if you want to fight me now, I'll grant your wish. That's the least I can do. Don't resist, and you might just survive. You and either, but no. Stop. You will need to find another artifact. He was one of the king's finest, a voice of reason amidst the madness. But it didn't save him or his legacy from what they had coming. Find the shield, and then, well, we will meet again. We'll see if your perspective changes.
good to have a little rest.
It was supposed to be a reminder. The sword was never just steel. It was a symbol of what we stood for. Strength, justice, the will to carve a path forward. A weapon, yes, but also a promise. I wanted them to remember, to fight for those ideals, to uphold them, even when I was gone. Even when there was no king left to lead them. Yes, it seems we knew each other well during the war. And this proves that I sought allies beyond our own forces. And I trusted him enough to carry the knowledge of Excalibur. This must count for something.
Don't bother. I'm in no mood to talk.
Who's there? What do you want? We're just sitting here, not bothering anybody, so there's no need to bother us. Vran? Ha! I've been wondering how that old harpy's doing. We haven't seen each other in a while. You can go. If you know our sister's name, that means you survived meeting her. That's enough for me to let you pass by.
We may be in for a fight. This fight is mine. Tis just a flesh wound. This fight is mine.
Don't even say.
He's waking up.
Help him up, Ansem. Welcome to my home. Quite a scene unfolded at the men here, with you. What was it that made... The local men here, then you tell me. Serpent, for some, and for all, and power. He's the with the that I in blood. I unbelieve. Felt that I and you.
The less attention, the better. Please, no trouble. Ah, a new face. Chapper, since life matter it from and